Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. And I'm still drunk. So, welcome to FMTV. This should be a fun night. And part of the reason I'm still a little inebriated is it's Ed's fault. So let's welcome in Uncle Ed. How you doing tonight,
How you
Ed?
doing, guys? How's it going, guys? Just hope everybody's doing well in this new year. Peter, how you doing?
I'm toasty. I'm toasty. And it's partially your fault, Ed.
Oh man, what did I do?
You didn't drink the beer that I bought. That's the problem. You didn't drink the beer that I bought, and therefore I'm left to do the dirty job and drink it all day while preparing for the show, sitting by the pool, having a beverage or 5 or 6, bringing in the new year.
Oh man, Peter, the new year was crazy for me. I think I told you the grandkid, fell down, hurt herself, and then after that, my son-in-law got sick. He had to go to the hospital. So I spent a lot of time at the hospital, man. And it was, I hope not a sign of things to come in this new 2021.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is this the beginning of a new year for you? I mean, is this what it's going to look like? Or
a lot of drama.
Or are you getting it all out of the way early?
Let's hope we got it out of the way early, and the rest of the year is fantastic because
smooth sailing.
Smooth sailing, and man, I could tell you're in good fashion right now. You're drinking some cervezas, huh?
Yeah, some Terrapin. It's luau. I mean, it's got a little passion fruit, a little orange, a little guava IPA. Yeah, I did a little yard work today, and then washed both cars, which I thought earned me the privilege to sit by the pool and drink beer all day while listening to 80s metal.
Oh man, that sounds like a good thing to do. So, but I'll definitely come over next time and drink your beer. I'm all about free beer. If it's free, it's for me.
It's good. It's good. And Judge just says, welcome in, Judge Dredd. That's an excuse to pound down a few beers. Exactly. I think that means for you, Ed, that's an excuse to pound down a few beers.
I definitely need to pound some down because I went through a lot of drama for your mama. Well, not your mama.
No. How was your Christmas, Ed? Was it good?
Good, man. But it's like a thing for kids. I give away some Inter Miami stuff to the kids and stuff, and so not as much as I would have wanted to. And of course, I've got them at one of the coolest places that there is out there, which maybe we should talk about.
Caneswear. Let's say a big thank you to Caneswear. Great segue there, Ed. Our friends at Caneswear have the best selection of Inter Miami gear throughout South Florida. If you're in Davie, it's easy to stop in the store, and they've got great hours, great discounts, and all kinds of things that are on sale all the time. Great selection. But if you're not in Davie, and if it's a little bit of a drive, no worries, because Caneswear.com has got you covered. Any orders over $99, they ship for free. So I'm pretty sure that's still going on. But I know some of our regular viewers, like One World One Gold, frequently is purchasing from Caneswear online. So go to Caneswear, mention Futbol Miami TV, and thanks so much for sponsoring this show.
Yeah, and that's where I got my stuff. I didn't go up to the store because I'm a little far away. So ordered them online. They got here on time, wrapped them up, and gave them away. So I got a couple polls for my son-in-laws, so they were pretty happy. One of them actually lives in Orlando, but he's all about Miami. So
that's good.
Good for him. Yeah, he doesn't let him.
So we missed last week because you were up there visiting Mickey Mouse, isn't that right? That's what I heard.
Well, I didn't. Well, one of my daughters lives up there, so we went to Orlando because of that. Spend Christmas with her.
So did you visit the Orlando City Stadium? Because that's, I don't know. I'm starting to question your.
I drove by the place a couple of times.
Did you throw some eggs? Did you throw some eggs at the building?
I gave them the finger.
Okay. All right.
It was kind of funny because I told my wife, "Oh, look, that's where the stadium's at," and I gave him the finger. And she was laughing because she thought that was really childish. And I was like, yeah, well, they're our rivals, so I got to give them love.
And
that's what I did.
Right.
I gave them love. Yeah. So,
all right, well,
Peter, let's see who else is on the chat room.
All right, who's in the chat?
Well, Peter, it's not as many people as we usually have.
It's still a holiday. It's still a holiday. A lot of people are still taking time off, and think about this, Ed. A lot of these kind of like shows and things like that, podcasts, what have you, they're not doing any shows right now. We're the only ones doing it. So, those that have decided to stick with us through thick and thin, we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And yeah, well, let's get to it. B King is the first one that was on there. He's saying Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully your beginning of the year was better than mine. There's also Jose Velasquez wishing us Happy New Year as well. The good judge himself, Judge Dredd, is asking about one of the subjects that we're going to talk about. I guess he's like, it sounds like a fancy French dessert.
Tastes good. It tastes so good. It tastes good, but not to the players. The players don't like it so much.
Well, we're going to get to that in a bit. And who else we got? We got Alex Z is also on board. Alex Z, how you doing, my friend? One World, One Goal. Of course, she's always supporting us. Yeah, she's one of our oldest friends who we've known from back in the day. And Soccer FL, how you doing, my friend?
Score
that's
FL.
About it for now.
Score FL.
Sorry about that.
And One World, One Goal said she bought the cool pink training jersey because Marcelo Clore looked good in it online and some late gifts. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that tweet from Marcelo doing some working out wearing that jersey. Looking good. He's working off that New Year's party weight, whatever he might have, wearing that cool training jersey. Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Well, good for him. And I saw. What do you think about that new jersey? I don't know if you saw the some pictures that were put up by Franco Panizo, I think it was.
Yeah, more importantly, Judge Dredd appreciates my like of music and wants me to post up a playlist of 80s metal. What do you think about that, Ed?
Whoa, well, I think it's a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, a very few who still, remember 80s metal. So I think that'll be a great nostalgia thing. For you to put out.
You're dissing 80s metal. You're dissing 80s metal. I'm done for the show. I'm done. I'm out.
No, there were some good ones, man. Here's the
thing. I was expecting you to be.
I'll do some new wave 80s too.
All right, I was expecting you to be over the house over this weekend, right? So I got a chance to hang out with Uncle Ned. Uncle Ned drove all the way from New Jersey. That kid is putting a lot of miles on his car. And Uncle Ned drove all the way from New Jersey all the way down to Coconut Creek to hang out with me a little bit. We were expecting you, but you had some family things you had to deal with. But
I told you about it.
I actually, Ed, I had found a playlist that I thought you might like.
Oh, look at that.
I was like, you know what? On? I was thinking, I can't have these guys over and have, a barbecue type of thing and just play 80s metal. I can't torture Ed like that. But at the same time, I can't listen to the Smiths all night long. I just can't do it, Ed.
Right.
I just can't do it.
Right.
But there was a playlist. There was a playlist on Apple Music that was called like Mixtape, and it was like alternative music from the 80s. So it had a little bit of the Smiths, it had a little bit of Depeche Mode, it had a little bit of like Echo and the Bunnymen, a little, it was pretty good. We were listening to that, and I had it ready I had it ready for you, but you had.
Oh man!
So next time, I got it ready.
For sure, man. For sure, we definitely need to do a rain check on that one, and I'll drink your beer. Like, that was. I was looking forward to that. I want to drink your beer.
There won't be any left.
Free beer.
Left.
I'll just buy some, Peter. That's cool.
All right. Well, and I had told my nephew that he can't touch anything because Uncle Ed's coming and he can pour one down or two. So I said, don't touch. But now he can have all he wants.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ed.
Right.
So what's this deal? What's this force majeure thing? So MLS is invoked as of Tuesday. They invoked force majeure. Do you know what the hell force majeure is? It's a fancy word.
Like the good Judge Dredd said, it sounds like a fancy dessert, French dessert or something. And then I heard majeure, and I thought, force. I thought the force, and I think I even tweeted something about that. I was thinking about how maybe it was Star Wars, but it's not even that, because the Jedi use the force and all that. MLS is using the force.
But in that case, the force is good, and the force is strong with you. But in this case, it depends on what side of the fence you sit on. The force is either good or not so good. So when you Google force majeure, it is the unforeseeable circumstances that prevent someone from fulfilling a contract. So when MLS, when they negotiated the last contract with the players, that was just finalized in June, just before the league and everything came back, and they did the MLS's back tournament and all that. They had just figured out what's going on with they made an agreement with the Players Association. All was good. And at the last second, MLS put this clause in there, the force majeure, so that just in case stuff does not get better in 2021, or even if it gets worse in 2020 in that case, they have an out. So the force majeure was a way for MLS to get out or to renegotiate some of the details of that contract. And it's a sensitive topic, Ed.
Well, yeah, let's see, Peter. When this whole COVID thing happened, the players, they took a pay cut. It wasn't much of a pay cut. I don't know if you remember the percentage, what it was. I think it was only like a 5%.
It was a 5% pay cut, 5% pay cut, and also a cap, $5 million cap on bonuses. So, a lot of players have bonuses built into the contract. So within, I guess, I'm assuming it was per team, because $5 million for the league is nothing. But $5 million per team for bonuses, which, if you were bonus late in contract, you may not have received said bonuses and received a 5% pay cut. And that was what they agreed on to get this deal across the table to play in the MLS's back tournament. And, the interesting thing is a lot of players felt like they were ramrodded, like MLS was this big brother type of organization, really putting the force on them that if you don't do what we ask, we're going to lock you out. And so they felt that, but they agreed to it regardless. And I got to ask you, Ed, where do you fall on that? So the players, they're a little butthurt that they had to sign this 5% deal and now may have to do it again or more, because that deal, that 5% was only for 2020. And now the league says they lost $1 billion. $1 billion they say they lost. Where do you stand on this? Where do you stand on this? Do you stand in that, hey, players, you need to be a little more understanding and negotiate, or billionaires, stop your bitching and get over it?
So, Peter, it's not going to affect like the players that are making a lot of money. It affects the players, the brand new players, the ones that are just, starting their career, the ones that are making what I think the minimum right now is $70,000, something like that. It affects those guys. 5% pay cut for those guys, it kind of hurts. The higher paid players, 5% is, I'm sure it helped out the teams in a way, but it wasn't a big percentage in my view, enough for the players to really complain. Now, if we talk about our team, our owners paid a lot of money for the stadium, for the players. Hell, they got Higuain, who didn't even play that many games, and they're paying him. He's the highest paid player in the league right now. So, I'd like to say I'm on the fence, but I think I'm a little more towards the owners because they've spent a lot of money. They're losing money. This year they didn't make that much money. And after all, this is a business, Peter. And if the owners aren't making money, I'm just afraid that, we're going to go back to a time, that dark age time that we lived through, that a lot of kids nowadays don't know what it was about when there wasn't soccer. We didn't have a chance, when we were growing up to have an actual league because we were right in the middle of when there was a limbo of no soccer at all in this country. So I'm afraid that if the owners keep losing money, that our league could eventually disappear. So I want to hear your point.
So you're saying you're on the side of the owners, that the owners that they need, they're billionaires, and so that's where the rub is. It seems like. So I spent all weekend reading a lot of comments. I read a few articles, several articles. I sent you guys one of them, but so many of the comments on Twitter or on the comments on some of these articles are anti-ownership. They're mad at billionaires. It's easy for us to get mad at billionaires, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a Republican, and I just think that, hey, we live in a capitalist society, and it's okay to be rich, right? It's the billionaire that finances the stadiums, maybe with a little bit of help of city funds and things like that at times. Not so much in Miami because our ownership is willing to pay for the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel. But it seems to be that all these soccer fans expect for it to be like soccer socialism. That you want the billionaires to create the teams, to spend the money, to build the stadiums, to do all this stuff, but you're not willing to take a pay cut. So that's what the force majeure to me is all about. Is it's going to be another pay cut. They're going to ask the players to take a greater cut. Look, the first time that MLS tried to negotiate this, they tried to negotiate a 50% pay cut. Now, that didn't fly. That didn't fly. The MLS Players Association obviously didn't go for that, and they went from 50 to 5. 5% is a much more realistic number, I guess. But think about it. How many of us in just the regular world took a pay cut this year? And may still continue to take that pay cut into 2021. Because it's not like all of a sudden the year changed and we took a magic pill and everything got better. We're still, and that's the thing with the ownership. This league, apparently, look, we don't all know the finances, and that's the rub, and we can get into that in a second, as we don't know all the finances. But the league, depends a lot on game day revenue, and they haven't had said game day revenue. So the players got to be understanding to take a 5, 10, whatever the percentage is. They got to be able to understand. We're all in this together. So they've got to be understanding to take a pay cut. But there's a lot of there's definitely a lot of angles to this. And I'm curious, you guys in the chat, if you have any opinions to this as well. And I haven't seen them maybe, but let us know.
Or give us a call, guys, 786-474-4435. Voice your opinion, and Peter is going to put it on, and we'll talk about it, and we'll break it down. We'll see what you guys think. Are you guys with the players, or are you guys with the owners? Who's right in this situation,
Yeah, so, I tend to be a little bit more on the owners, but here's the argument. Here we go. One World, One Goal says, Peter, we know the finances before. We need to know who suffered during the pandemic versus who profited. Let's hope owners were Amazon-like. I guess meaning the owners made money like Amazon, because Amazon benefited during this. There are certain ownership groups that benefited from this. But you can't look. Here's my thing. You can't look at the owners and say, let's take Jorge Mas. And let's say, I don't know, I'm just making this up, okay? So let's say his businesses thrived during the pandemic and he made money. Great, congratulations. That's a separate business from his Inter Miami soccer team. He's got to look at those businesses separately. And the Inter Miami soccer team did nothing but lose money. He built a stadium and was not allowed to let people come in to help pay for said stadium. You know, all the people that were going to buy tickets and concessions. I mean, a lot of the money goes to the concessions because you all know that's like a $15 beer, right, at a stadium. Right. It's a damn, you got to take out a loan. Yeah. You got to take out a mortgage to get a beer at a stadium these days. So we all know they're making a lot of money off of parking, and they're going to charge like $30 to park, right? So they're gonna charge a lot to park, and so they didn't get to make any of that money. So you cannot look at the ownership as, hey, were they all Jeff Bezos and Amazon and they cleaned up? That's a separate business. You know, line item 1 looked good. Line item 2, not so much.
Well, you know, Peter, you were talking about politics a little bit earlier. I tend to be, more on the towards the Democratic side, and but I have to go with, like I said, the owners in this case, because they're, I'm afraid we're going to lose, our league again if this continues. If this pandemic gets worse. It's not helping them. All the other leagues, baseball, football, they're all hurting as well. I mean, they're stronger than MLS is. This MLS is, has been doing well.
They're hurting, but they've got massive TV contracts. And you might look at the MLS contract and go, oh, they make $90 million a year. That sounds good. Compared to the NFL, MLB, or even probably hockey, that's nothing. Right. So that contract is nothing. They really do depend on game day. No wonder they're charging $30 to park, right? Because they got to make some money to build that damn stadium. And then the beautiful one that they're going to build in Miami. Imagine what the parking's going to be like in Miami, because you could charge more in Miami than you can in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, that's for sure, man. All the glam, all the glitz. But yeah, Peter. So we, compared to other leagues, we're more vulnerable. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We've had some new teams are coming in. They probably expect not to make any money, at least not this year. So that's going to hurt Austin, for example. And I don't know, man. It's just I'm just afraid that, if this thing keeps going, that we could, the MLS will be in a situation where they won't be able to get back up, and the thing that's keeping this league alive right now are the expansion fees. If you think about it, those are the things that's kept this, league looking bright, but eventually that's going to stop. They're going to get to the limit of teams that could come in, and they're hoping that I would imagine MLS hopes that by then we'll have the contracts that other leagues have, in this country and the countries abroad, where we will be able to be more sustainable. The league will be stronger than it is now, but we haven't gotten to that point. So let's see what happens.
Yes, I was playing around with things. Hang on a second. Here we go. Here, look. Judge Dredd says, interesting. Judge, let me move this up a little bit. I can't see it. It's not cooperating.
A good judge.
Yeah, the Judge Dredd says, I side with the owners. Players can make plenty without contracts from a club, sponsorship deals, and personal stuff. Keep their bank accounts happy. Owners have to put more work to keep a club alive. I mean, they got to build the stadiums, right? And so, it takes billionaires, millionaires, what have you. It's a billionaire game because there's losses. It takes them in order to build a league. And something you said, Ed, is you'd be shocked at how many comments I read online of people just saying, burn MLS down. We want to bring back the old days of the NASL. We need a new league We need, of course, everybody starts throwing out promotion and relegation. Of course, that's a whole nother show, but it still comes up. And but so many comments of people talking about like MLS, like it's, let's bring it back to Star Wars, like it's the evil empire, and like Don Garber is Emperor Palpatine, like he's the emperor in this whole thing, and so many comments of people wanting to just burn MLS down. So it's like I saw something from Alexi Lalas. Alexi was basically saying, and I'm going to paraphrase, but he said something to the effect, okay, so you want to burn down the most successful soccer league in the United States, like ever. It's probably the fastest growing soccer league probably in the world, and you want to just burn that down because you don't agree with the single entity, or because all of them can negotiate together. All the owners can negotiate. Here's the power. All the owners can negotiate together to make the players feel a little bit hurt. And that's, I guess, where you could start to switch it. Like, I've been very, very pro ownership here, but there's one argument, Ed, and one argument that it's interesting to me is that, and I saw somebody comment on this, and I can see this argument, and maybe MLS should put a moratorium on the DP big contracts. Because how can you ask your player that's making $60,000 a year to take a 10% decrease? Because let's be honest, 5% was 2020. They're going to probably go for more, right? So how do you ask? How do you ask your $60,000 player to take a pay cut at maybe 10% or what have you? Meanwhile, you bring in a DP from across the pond. Let's look at Inter Miami, and you say, you bring in Higuain, who's making somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 to $8 million a year, and you're telling that $60,000 guy that you got to take a pay cut. Meanwhile, they're spending $8 million to get Higuain, who isn't even producing. He's not even doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's spending his money bitching at referees. So as a player, that player that's now at entry level, making a low salary, I'm upset. So the one argument I could have for the players is, I think if I was negotiating with them, is maybe putting a moratorium on teams like, I know that Minnesota was spending a ton of money on bringing in a new player. And that's where I saw some people complaining about how can they go and spend this much money when meanwhile you're going to ask us to take a pay cut. I could see that argument.
So yeah, man, it's tough to think of all, everything that, some of these players, like you talk, I think you're right. 60,000 is, I think, the minimum from some of these players. It's gotta hurt. Those are the ones that take the hit, not the guys that are, not the DPs who are making millions already. For them, it's like, I wouldn't say chump change, but it's, they can survive. It's the little guys.
Sure, but that's always the case. Like, let's just take business. Like, my job. Okay, so let's say we've got an employee at my company that's making 30,000. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers. And then you got an employee that's making 100,000, and you tell everybody you got to make a 5% decrease. Now, obviously, it's going to hurt the $30,000 guy more than the $100,000 guy. Yeah. But the company has decided that everybody across the board is going to make that 5% pay cut. I mean, that happened. That's not solely to MLS. That happened to businesses across the world. And from what I understand, in other soccer leagues, they were asked to make even larger pay cuts. So would it be fair to say for 2021, we're not going to sign any new DP contracts? Or do you look at that and say, but maybe that hurts the league in the long run too much? I don't know. Here's where I stand. I stand more on the side of the ownership, but I would like to see them say, okay, if you're signed a contract, we already signed Higuain, so he's in. But put a pause on anybody new. That's what I would like to see.
Let's talk about our team, for example. Do you think they're going to go after a DP? I mean, we don't have space for one. Now they can go back and, we talked about this before in other shows. Talk to Pellegrini, talk to Carranza, and say, look, guys, both of you guys didn't produce that much, especially Pellegrini because he's taking up that DP spot. Talk to him and say, look, dude, we're going to bring you down. We'll try to work things out with you, so you can make money on, some other way. But do you think they're going to talk him down at DP? And will we use that DP spot this year?
Well, here's the thing. Don't expect any movement in the next 30 days. I don't think you're going to see any team make any dramatic moves in the next 30 days. You might see some in-league changes, that are like kind of simple, no big deal changes. But don't expect any big changes over the next 30 days because that's what the force majeure means, that the team and the league and the owners and the players association have to, in good faith, they keep commenting that, in good faith, have a conversation. So by January 28th, if they don't come to a decision, potentially the agreement that they have in place is null and void, and they got to start from scratch, and you could see a lockout. So I would imagine no changes for any team really to any significant changes in the next 30 days. Like I said, you might see some players moving from, I don't know, Red Bull to Miami or Miami to Kansas City or something like that. But you're not going to see any big changes, I don't think, in the next 28 days while they figure this whole thing out. But
Peter,
I do agree, and we've talked about this a lot on this show, is they need to renegotiate the Pellegrini contract. And that has nothing to do with this situation. That has to be done no matter what. He did not earn DP money. He didn't do it. He didn't earn DP money. And the promise, we just haven't seen it. So he could be a high-level TAM player. Like, use the TAM to buy his contract down. And he's got a contract, so he doesn't have to agree to anything. He could take the money, I guess, and just,
right,
screw the team.
And just wait But he's young, and I think he wants to prove that he can do better. So I think he might be open for the negotiations. If he doesn't, then we're kind of going to be hurting. But I was going to move on a little bit on. Oh, nice.
You want to go to a voicemail?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here's one. I fast forwarded by mistake.
Whoopsie. Because I also wanted to talk about, the players that we have now on the team, the ones that are confirmed.
Hello, my name is Alejandro, and my question is, where do you think Inter Miami will get this season? Like, do you think they're going to win? And if you don't think they're going to win, where do you think they're going to get knocked out? Let me know. Thank you.
I don't know if could you hear that okay, Ed?
Yeah, I heard it.
All right, it's a little low.
He wants to know.
Yes, Alejandro wants to know where we're going to end up. Where do you think if we're going to win? Ed.
Well, we definitely don't have the full roster, Peter. We only have, like I mentioned to you, 18 players. Yeah.
Hey,
and
they re-signed Breck Shea. That's a good sign.
That's a good one. I think everybody was wondering, and I saw it on Twitter. I saw it everywhere on Facebook. People were talking about that. They're like, why didn't they sign Breck Shea? And thank goodness they did, because somebody else was going to pick him up. It was only a matter of time. And
yes,
he was definitely one of the players that did a lot for this team. He could play many positions on the left side. He was the second highest scorer on the team. Uh-oh, Peter ran out of beer.
It's running low, Ed. It's running low. The tank is running low.
Oh, man. But Breck Shea is definitely the player that everybody wanted back.
Yes. He was a player that came in with low expectations but delivered high. We weren't expecting much. When Breck Shea came in, most people were complaining, like, what the hell? Why are we getting this washed-up has-been guy? He's played for so many teams. He hasn't done well since FC Dallas. It was the last time he played well. And, he didn't do so great in Stoke, and then he bounced around, I don't know if it was Vancouver or Montreal, a Canadian team. Yeah, whatever, Canadian. And he went to your buddies up there in Orlando, and I mean, you gave him the middle finger, so that's good. But he was a great. They had to re-sign him, as I said before. Open up the checkbook and give him whatever he needs. Make him happy, keep him here. But as far as what Alejandro was asking is, where do we think they will place next year? I think it's a little bit more of the same. So I think you're going to see an average team, an average MLS team at best. I don't think. Let's be honest. We don't have a general manager. We don't have a guy in charge of the business. We don't have a director of business, whatever you want to call that position. We've got a coach that's on thin ice, a coach that thought he was fired, and so you've got only 18 players. You let go a lot of players. So where are we?
And one of the guys that was let go, Peter, we got to talk about this guy a little bit. We saw it on Twitter. Remember the guy's name?
Which one?
He went back to Colombia.
Oh, right. Well, Reyes. Yeah. He's back in Colombia. But, the funny thing is you were saying which player, but I was actually thinking of, remember, we let go and we traded him to, New England, a player that we all thought was going to be so great, and Lee Win. We thought he was going to be a great player, and he's actually said screw MLS, and he's gone to Korea, I think. And he's going to play in Korea.
He went to Vietnam.
Okay, well, okay. Yeah. Korea, Vietnam, what do I know?
So he must be like, the highest paid player in that league or something. Because he's
like, screw MLS in this pay cut. I'm out. I'm gonna go play and I think his heritage is over there in Vietnam, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mind was going directly to him. But we've got you wanted us to keep Batman Reyes.
Dude, because I thought, the potential for marketing, marketing, Peter, you work in that, he had that mask going. He could have had the whole Batman thing going. I was like, man, bring this guy back just because of the mask, because that's going to be just, that's going to sell great with the kids. But no, I guess, whoever's in Inter Miami's marketing, area nobody spoke up. Nobody saw the potential that I saw. Peter, because I would have worn one of those masks. They could have made him in a Batman shape or something, or like a superhero type of thing. But no, it's not going to happen. What do you think about Reyes going back? Do you think he was good? Do you think he was bad?
He was good at times, made a lot of rookie mistakes. There was some potential. I get it. A lot of people were upset that he was let go, that they let him go because there was potential. We saw potential. Some other people obviously felt like he was the cause for a lot of the goals, and he was. Let's be honest. He was guilty for a lot of the goals that were scored against us. But I think what it boils down to is his stock went down, and they had an agreement in place with Nacional to buy him, and clearly his stock went down, and the team felt like he wasn't worth that value. Whatever that money was, I'm not exactly sure, but whatever that money was, he wasn't worth that anymore. So I'm sure they would have taken him because they mentioned in the press release about letting go so many players, they mentioned him in particular. They were trying to renegotiate the contract. So they were clearly trying to get him at a cheaper price. That their evaluation, their evaluation of Reyes was much lower than what Nacional was asking for. So at that point, say, Nacional, you can have him. And to me, that's just a good business.
Right. And we did sign Felipe Valencia, who comes from the academy. He was playing at Fort Lauderdale CF. Okay. So he's a brand new player that's coming in. We also had Patrick Segrist, I think you say it. Mm-hmm. He also came in. So, there's been some movement, but right now we've only got 18 players. Can we really say that we've got enough to make the playoffs next year, Peter?
I mean, you never know. The MLS in the playoffs, I mean, are they going to let 10 teams in the East or whatever they did like this year? Are they going to make it easy for us? If they are, then sure. I don't think we're going to be the stinker. I don't think we'll be the worst team in the league, but I think we'd be average to below average as of right now. Now, could Diego Alonso pull some sort of miracle? The fact that he's got the team for the entire offseason? Maybe. But he's also kind of like a dead man walking right now. I mean, they've already said
he doesn't know if he's coming back. We don't know if he's coming back. And at this stage,
he went around the office telling everybody who's gone. So the players know this, and so he's kind of a dead man walking a little bit. So, anyways, we have another voicemail. I think this one is from One World, One Goal. Let's see what she has to say.
Hey guys, Happy New Year. It's One World, One Goal. I haven't talked to you all year. Ha ha ha. I wasn't going to call, but I thought I'd call real quick to clarify. Obviously the league makes all the money, from sponsors, major sponsors and the television deals. And then each team makes money from the concessions, the parking, and, also part of the TV deal that they get, locally and, other things that they can do to promote local sponsors, which we know they really haven't done a lot of because they're holding on to getting that main sponsor. The thing we want to know about the stadium, yes, it looks like they possibly, could go for building it in Miami, but at that point, because of the big stadium build, we need to know the owners, how they've done well through this time period of this pandemic or not. For example, Mostec depends. He builds infrastructure, so construction. They were able to keep working through this, and they build the pipelines for gas and oil. With the move towards electric, his business will suffer a little, but Mastec is the number one Hispanic in the country. The number two Hispanic in the country is Marcelo Clare. So we're glad to have him. He's with SoftBank, and they're pushing WeWork, but right now people are not, working in offices, but they own tons of real estate, so I think they'll bounce back in 2-3 years. And his partner, Masa-san, who has invested as well, is one of the wealthiest gentlemen in Japan who has, stock in things like Alibaba, which is like Amazon, but for the Far East. So overall, he's okay, but we just don't know how much they want to spend. So we'll see what happens. It's all a big mystery. Happy New Year. Bye.
We will see what happens. How much of their pocketbooks do they want to open up? Look, every business is going to have X amount. Like, I will put X amount of dollars into this and no more than that. And if, so like, that's why I said earlier is that just because one element of his business is doing well does not mean that this element has to, he has to give more. Because, he's got to look at each one as a separate entity and a separate company. And the thing is, the interesting thing with MLS is that it's a single entity ownership. So they're all buying into one organization. So you've got strong owners. And I would like to think that we have strong financial owners, right? We think we do. So I would like to think that we've got some of the deep-pocketed owners. But then you've got some owners that maybe are less so, or are less willing to spend. You look at like Stan Kroenke up in Colorado. He's got tons of money, but he chooses not to spend it. Colorado does not spend big money on their players. So he's obviously portioned out a certain amount of money for his MLS team, and that's it. So, you've got some owners in the league, I'm sure. How interesting, Ed, would it be to be a fly on the wall in these ownership meetings where you've got the big spenders and then the small spenders and arguing about this kind of stuff?
Yeah, it would be very interesting to see what all these guys are, what their budget was. I would imagine Inter Miami had a budget, when they came into 2020 and, they knew they were going to go after a DP. So that was probably within that budget. And they said, you know what, we got the money, let's do it. So they did it. They went with whatever they had their budget. But now they're probably redoing their budget for this year because they probably know they're, the way that it looks, we're not going to have people in the stadium at least not for a while unless these numbers come down from the pandemic. So, I would imagine that they're not going to spend the money that they did last year. even if they do talk Carranza and Pellegrini down on their contracts to open up some space, I don't see them bringing in DP.
No, and I don't see any more beer in this can either.
Oh man, Peter, you need to tell Alexa to go. Oh, Alexa can't even go bring your beer.
No, but
There's only certain things Alexa could do.
My teenager can, but that's me being a bad parent then. So I won't do that. Anyways,
you don't want to do that.
No. Judge Dredd says, "Don't ever mention Stan Kroenke. He is messing up my beloved Arsenal." All right. Well, I don't know. I just know he owns an MLS team. I don't even know what else he owns. So the interesting thing though is I keep I go back to what I was reading earlier, and you mentioned a little bit about the demise of MLS. Some people want this league. It's amazing how some fans, and there's some fans in the city, in this area that hate MLS, and they want it to go away. Sure, could there be tweaks to the league and changes made to where it's a little more each for their own? Sure, but how are you going to come at the one and only league that's ever been truly successful, 25 years successful in this country? So if they need a little help, I'll give it to them. LA Boss is asking, 1-1 goal. I like this. Peter, go do a beer run. Ed can talk. No, that's okay. I'm not that big of a drunk. I'm more joking around. But Ale Boss is saying, do you support any other team that's not Inter Miami? Interesting question. Off topic, but interesting question. Go, Ed.
Well, I do. I support teams in Ecuador. People make fun of me because the team's name is Barcelona, but it wasn't actually as a tribute to Barcelona, the team, but more for the city because the people that started were from Barcelona. It's the biggest team in Ecuador. Here in the States, I supported a number of teams that came and went, Fusion being one of them. Inter Miami, of course, that's my team now. Back when I was a kid, the LA Galaxy, because I was born the LA Aztecs, because that was my team, when I was a kid. And, but other leagues, I watched the Premiership, don't have a favorite. I supported Manchester United because what's the name? Antonio Valencia used to play for the team. I guess if there's a team in England that I watch, it's that one. It's probably Manchester United. But otherwise, what about you, Peter? Do you follow anybody else? Any other team?
I mean, just local.
Nothing.
I'm all local. Like I'll cheer for Miami FC, Boca Raton, Miami United. That's it. I mean, I'll watch a random game. Look, Judge, I don't care about Arsenal. I'll watch a game for Arsenal, and it's like, whatever. It's in the background. I'm playing on my phone half the time, and then I just look up whenever the announcers get excited. But no, I'm a weird kind of soccer fan. So many soccer fans, love some other team in some other country for whatever their reason. For me, there's got to be like a real connection. And I don't have a connection to any team in England. I don't have a connection to any team in Spain, like the biggest countries. So, and I guess the closest thing I would have is Curitiba in Brazil. But that's really hard to watch in America. It's like hard to find Brazilian soccer in the United States unless I get, it used to be on like Gold TV, I think it was, but I don't even have that channel anymore because I cut the cord. I don't have that channel. So, and for me, it would be that team because I've been to the games. I've been to the stadium. My wife's family supports them and stuff like that. But just to pick a team at random, like, hey, Manchester United, I like this. team because they were on my TV all the time back in the old days when Champions League was on ESPN and you'd turn in and it was always Manchester United was just always on. So I think that's probably why a lot of Americans like Manchester United, and because we like winners. But me, I don't care. I mean, it's like I have to have a real connection, and I guess I'm not that big of a traveler to have a real connection with a lot of these teams. So my connection is local. I'm all local.
Right.
One World, One Goal says Peter is the perfect MLS fan. Thank you.
I don't know about that.
Perfect. She said perfect, Ed.
All right. If you want to think you're perfect, but I don't know if you're the perfect.
One World, One Goal said it. Not
Says
me.
it.
Yeah. Not
Okay.
me.
Well, that's cool.
All right, Ed. Do we have any more voicemail?
So
No, that's it. Ed, so, where do you think? Okay, so let's switch in the last, say 9 minutes of the show. Let's look and see 2021. We should be happy, right? We should be looking towards the future and looking towards the bright things. The sun is shining. The good things are coming. What are they?
We can hope, Peter. We can hope. All
right.
There's still a lot of uncertainty.
One good thing, one certainty is we will have a vaccine, right? So at some point this year, people are going to start getting vaccinated, right? So we should be, look, if you watch this show, get the vaccine so you can help us go see the soccer games, right? That's all we care about, right? Just going to the stadium to see the games. So help us go to see the games. But so people are going to start, but that won't the average person probably won't get it till what, summer? So we're not looking to the second half of the season. So what is there that we could look at in 2021 other than to say the vaccine, and that maybe in the summertime we can go to see games? Before the summer, I'm sure they'll continue doing what they did at the end of the season, having a limited capacity, so you can still go to see the game. But to go to get feel that atmosphere where we're neck to neck, and you've got the Southern Legion and Vice City and the Siege all hanging on top of each other, all that craziness that we expect to see inside the stadium, and feeling that enthusiasm and that vibe. It may not be till late summer till we see that. What can we be excited about?
It's the thing, Peter. I mean, oh man, I don't know what there is. It's gonna be tough for you and for me because we got our season tickets. We're ready to go, but I don't think we're going to be watching the games in the beginning. I think there's going to be at least a few months. League's supposed to start in March. Isn't it March?
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna. Well, I think it's gonna. They're probably gonna start playing, but not with fans. So that's gonna hurt us.
They'll do look, we ended the season with limited fans, so they'll do the same thing. And at least here in South Florida, we'll get limited fans. I don't think they're pulling that back. But so we'll see limited fans. Okay. You might be able to go to a game, but you're not getting that packed atmosphere that everybody arm to arm, you're standing in the supporters section going crazy. Everybody's got their shirts off, they're flying them in the air, they're hand in hand, arm in arm, beers spilling on each other, going nuts and going crazy. That's not happening. So
everybody wearing masks, trying to keep distance. Oh man, I want to go back to normal life.
So, I think most of 2021 for an Inter Miami fan is going to feel very familiar, very similar to 2020, unfortunately. So hopefully near the end of the season, we start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that we're past this. But the ramifications, and we could do a whole nother show on this, is just what are the lasting effects that this has on the league. It's going to set them back a few years at least. People are talking about where's the shirt sponsor for Inter Miami. I know that's a popular topic with Judge Dredd. He wants a Cafe Bustelo. But what company is ready right now to spend millions and millions of dollars on a shirt sponsorship? Inter Miami, if they want
Amazon.
that, there's a few. Amazon, Walmart, Publix. There's a few, but there's not a lot.
Well, get one of those guys signed.
FedEx.
Help this team out, guys.
Let's get FedEx.
FedEx is doing well.
They're doing well. So, hey, one thing I wanted to, we're always asking for comments, so let's hit this before we go. Endo says, do you guys think Miami will buy an American keeper or look for a keeper from abroad? What do you think, Ed?
I think they should stick with American. We've got some of the best goalkeepers here in the United States. No need to go and search for, an expensive foreign player who can, when we make them, around the corner. No, don't do it. We've got plenty of good American keepers.
I agree. Americans learn at a young age how to catch. We teach all of our kids how to catch. So come on, we got good goalkeepers. Don't spend. I know there's rumors out there about us getting an international goalkeeper. Forget about that. I mean, I hope they don't do it, and especially in this climate. Yeah. Like I said before, don't go spending big money. If Inter Miami said we're going to stick with the DPs that we have and write it out for 2021, I'm okay with that. Let's just fill in.
Me three.
Our bigger issue really is who is calling the shots. Because right now, I'm afraid it's our Orlando City guy, Nicky Budulic. And he didn't do well in Orlando. And meanwhile, he's the director of soccer operations right now in Inter Miami.
So that's something that we could be worried about. Now, he didn't do well with Orlando City. And there's a few people from Orlando City that at the time weren't doing well who are in our, working in our office. So I'm kind of concerned because when they were working, that team wasn't doing very well, and we want our team to be doing really well in the front office and as a team. So, what are the possibilities that Nicky's going to be the guy that calls the shots, Peter?
He's the guy that's here now. I don't think he's the guy long term. I mean, I hope not. But he's currently here, and Paul McDonough, he said he'd be here for the transition. Let's be honest. That's what you say on your way out. He's gone. The dude's gone. Wherever he calls home, I don't know where he's originally from. He's gone. He's not. I don't think he's doing anything. I mean, I'd be shocked if he's involved in any way. So you're dealing with whoever's on staff. They're probably talking to Budulic. They're talking to Jason Kreis. And, which those are good people to talk to. But, I would lean on Kreis more than I would Budulic, even though they both failed in Orlando. But, okay, but what here, 111 goal says, Peter, what do you think Beckham wants to be more involved? Take over front office? So Beckham saying he wants to be more involved. Yeah, that recently came out. I mean, he can't be any more involved. Is him giving 5 minutes to the club?
And he needs to be over here if he's going to be involved.
But he hasn't done anything. So him giving 5 minutes to the club would be more involved.
Gotcha.
I mean, he's done nothing.
I think you're right.
He's done nothing since he's been in ownership. I mean, thankfully, without Beckham, we wouldn't have a team. So, thank you. But since giving us the team, what has he done? And so, yeah, he's going to be. And you're right, Ed. He needs to be here if he's going to be more involved. And right now, with the pandemic, that's a little difficult. But I think
he's in.
Can an English person travel here? I think he probably can. He just got to do a 2 week.
I think he can.
He's got to do a 2-week quarantine, but I think he can.
Right.
Going back and forth is the hard part.
Right. He needs to be here. He needs to, be at the office every day. You check out the players every day.
Exactly.
He needs to be, he needs to get the feel of it. He can't do that while he's at, in England or traveling across the world like he usually does. If he's going to be involved, he needs to be here in South Florida. In that office, in the training field, looking at the players, seeing what actually needs to be done. I think he's got a lot of experience as far as being a player. He might have a notion of, the coaching. He might have a notion of, all different aspects of soccer that he can help with. He definitely could pick up the phone and talk to any player in the world if he wants to. So if he starts doing stuff like that,
Look, he obviously can evaluate talent and he's played the game long enough. He knows what he's looking at, but he needs to be here in order to do that, in order to help pull those strings. What is more involved for Beckham? I mean, God, it just being involved in any way is more involved. So, I want to see him here.
Yeah, look at Jorge Mas. He was totally involved. He was right next to Paul McDonough every day. He was, doing, for a guy that really wasn't a soccer guy, he was very much into it. He was, I'm sure he's learned a lot from Paul.
Sure.
I'm sure he's made a lot of connections. I'd like to see David Beckham be like that.
Right. He needs to
be involved like Jorge Mas was.
Yeah, he needs to be here. He can evaluate talent. He can make the phone calls he needs to make, what have you. But yeah, I mean, you wanted a team, David. You got a team. Now, the thing is, it is a reflection of him and his brand. We're right now a failure. I mean, not a failure, I guess. I mean, maybe that's a little harsh, but because we made the playoffs. We made the playoffs, but we came into this league talking like we were going to be the next LAFC, and we weren't. So we're not the success we thought we would be. Maybe it's that, and that is a poor reflection on the Beckham brand. So if he's just doing brand management, he needs to get more involved. But I guess in order to be more involved, we all need to get the vaccine so he can travel. At this point, I guess he could be more involved with just trying to help pick the next GM, the next business guy, and just being a little more. But I don't know. Unless I see him in this apartment that he apparently has in Miami, I guess I don't really believe in his involvement until I see him here. So, all right, Ed. I think we had some fun tonight. There's a lot to talk about, and the funny thing is, I really want to turn this new year into looking at more positive things. But it started off with this force majeure, which is generally being considered a negative, whether it be from the
Peter, the whole force thing. I thought we were going to be talking about Star Wars, man, and we barely even talked Star Wars.
There is don't get me started, because starting tomorrow is a High Republic. Anybody in this chat know what the High Republic is? It starts. I think it starts Tuesday, but they've got a video thing on Monday where they're going to talk about the High Republic. Ed, High Republic is coming.
Wow. It's really cool stuff, man. I'm excited with all those shows that are going to. No, I don't. It's what is it, Peter? Tell us. But I was just saying, it's got all these shows that are coming up.
Yeah, no, the High Republic is a publication thing that they're doing. It's going to involve like many different books, audiobooks, comic books, all kinds of things. It's Star Wars like 200-300 years in the past. So before Yoda. Actually, Yoda's in it, but he's young in it. And so it's this old school Republic that's going to be. And some people are saying that this could mold a little bit of some of the movies in the future, a little bit of Knights of the Old Republic for those that played the video game.
Gotcha.
But yes, there's like 10 Disney Plus TV shows that are coming out for Star Wars. So it's exciting time in the coming years for Star Wars fans.
Have to start that we might have to have a show just to talk about nerd stuff, Peter, the way it's going.
Yeah, this guy right here.
There you go.
All right, Ed. Everybody, thanks so much for spending some time with us. It was a lot of fun. We had, even when we complain and bitch and moan a little bit about some of the stuff, but it's always fun with you guys in the chat. I appreciate so much of your time that you spent with us. And it's been an amazing year, Ed. And just looking back in this year, it's been so much fun. And apparently Judge Dredd wants this. I've got an entire box full of little pop and bobbleheads and stuff like that. I don't know what to do with them. I actually got a new one, unrelated to Star Wars. Oop, where is it? Unrelated, but Mr. Toad. Look at that, Mr. Toad.
Wow.
That's a good one. That was a Christmas present. But anyways,
Yes.
so at the end of the day, this was a lot of fun this year, and it wouldn't be as much fun if it wasn't for you guys that are along the ride with us every single week. We appreciate all of you so much for spending your Sunday evenings with us. It's been a lot of fun. And with
Haven't said that, Peter?
Well, I was pausing in case you wanted to throw something in there.
Yeah, I haven't said that. Yeah.
Crap.
Happy New Year, guys. Let's hope that this year is a lot better, and that our team, that Beckham is involved, that Jorge Mas is, continues to be involved, and that they start forming one hell of a team, and that we can see our team, form and hopefully defeat everybody and give us a championship, which is what we all want.
All right.
And that's it.
Agreed. And I didn't see this. Came in about 5 minutes ago. So let me. We always ask for your voicemails, so let's make sure we play them. Let's end on a message from I don't know. He says he's America's favorite uncle, Ed. Uncle Ned, checking in.
Fam. Damn. Well, once again, this is America's Uncle Ned. Want to give a shout out to my good buddy Uncle Ed, Darrell's favorite uncle, and to my homeboy, man, my buddy downtown Peter Brown. Uncle Ned shared a cultural exchange with Peter Brown.
Cultural.
You know what I'm saying? Over there in Coconut Creek. So had a good time this weekend. But anyway, I'm just getting back home to Jersey, and I caught the tail end of what you guys were talking about. Listen, Inter Miami, real quick take for you guys. We kind of put ourselves in this condition, in this situation. We don't have a shirt sponsor, and we damn sure don't have a stadium sponsor. What are we doing here? Okay, if we had a business sponsorship, we wouldn't be impacted as bad. I mean, everybody's going to get impacted, but we wouldn't get impacted as bad as we're going to get impacted now because we have no sponsorship. Okay, no sponsorship means no money. So, we're gonna hurt a little bit. I'm glad that David Beckham is going to get involved. If that means he becomes like a second GM over Nikki Buttigieg, then okay. I don't want Nikki. I told you guys. I said I was willing to drive to wherever Paul McDonough is to go pick him up, but I don't want Nikki. But if Beckham's going to help out, then more the merrier. So I say this, all right? Pellegrini, gone. Higuain, in my opinion, gone, because we can get somebody in the free agency that is way cheaper and, probably can score more goals than sit around and bitch and complain and yell at his own teammates. So, I mean, if we can trade some of these guys to reduce cap, I'm all for it, and I'll give you a couple of names. I would sign Kai Kamara. I would sign C.J. Sapong. I would sign Ozzy Alonso, and I would sign Kevin Molino. And there's about another person or two that we could put in defense, especially on right back or left back, that could help us out. These guys are cheap. These are MLS guys. Let's clean house a little bit and go make that acquisition in free agency. All right, man. I'll see you guys. Love the room. Peace.
So Uncle Ned and I, in our cultural exchange, what does that mean, Ed? Cultural? Is that like when he's like, "Damn, Peter's white," and and so I'm listening to his like mixtape playlist that I actually pulled for you, Ed.
Wow.
I don't know.
Was there stuff that he never heard before?
I don't know. What's cultural mean? Isn't it cultural code for like, it was different.
Could have been, man. Well, too bad I wasn't there because it would have been so much more fun. But
Kai Kamara is a name Kai Kamara is a name that he and I talked about. Kai Kamara I think Kai Kamara is trying to play on every team in MLS. And why not Inter Miami? He scores everywhere he goes. Bring him in. He might be like 60 years old now, but he's going for a Guinness Book of World Records of playing for more MLS teams than anybody else in the entire world. So sign him up. And because, like I said, he scores everywhere he goes, and he makes some good points about some of the other players.
CJ is pretty good. There were a couple of guys that he talked about, which I think are, it's doable, man. Go after the MLS guys. And, what I saw from Coach Alonso was he was going with the young guys. I felt like he should have probably used the older guys, in the beginning, at least. But, to each their own, hopefully if he stays, he'll get to, get the players that he wants and make the team that he wants.
Well, there is
a lot. Another one?
No. I was just double checking. Just double checking before we wrap that up. Because look, guys, if you want the show to go on, just keep leaving voicemails. We'll keep going. But
Ozzy Alonso, I'd love to have as well. Ozzy Alonso, he's a Cuban guy.
Yeah, he might be a little over the hill. I don't know. Does he have anything left in the tank, Ozzy?
They need to see that. But he was a good player, and
he does the dirty work. Ozzy does the dirty work, which is nice. I mean, he doesn't. He's just a good, solid player. He's one of those Cuban players that came over here.
He ran away from the team, I think, and he was able to sign.
Right.
But maybe it's his time to, retire with Miami, which is as close to Cuba as can be. Yeah, and and he can go out in the blaze of glory here in Miami.
I think of the John Bon Jovi song, "Blaze of Glory," when you say that.
Boy.
And where's that song? Let me play "Blaze of Glory" for John Bon Jovi.
Here we go.
All right, well, I think that wraps it up. More than Elvis Powell. More than Elvis Powell, Peter. LMFAO. All right. Well, anyways, we could go all night. Thanks so much for everybody for joining us. It has been a fantastic 2020, and look forward to having an even more fun 2021. Regardless of what our team does on the field, we're going to have fun here every Sunday night. So whether our team stinks or whether it's great, we'll have a good laugh and have some fun and share a beverage or two while we do this show. So thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Uncle Ed, for joining me along this ride. Let's do it again for the rest of the rest of 2021.
Certainly, let's do this. Let's keep doing it. And we plan on doing more videos, guys. It's the low season right now. We're just getting out of the holidays and all that. And but we do plan on bringing you guys some more videos in the future. So it just won't be this show. Well, there'll be some more content.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for everybody in the chat for joining in. Thanks to Caneswear for being our sponsor for 2020. And we look forward to more of Caneswear in 2021. So thanks so much to everybody, and we will see you next week.